Hello everyone, you're now with me, Ruben Gomez, for TVS News at 5. Now, let us begin. The first session of the first term of the 19th Sarawak State Legislative Assembly Dun sitting will convene for 3 days, from today until Wednesday, February 16th. The first day saw no tabling of government bills or debate by the honourable members. Chief Minister Datuk Petinggi Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg today led elected representatives in taking their oaths before Speaker Tan Sri Muhammad Asfiya Awang Nasar on the first day of the Dun sitting.
There was no opening ceremony for the conference by the head of state Tun Pehin Sri Abdul Taib Mahmud, with the House sitting directly beginning with a prayer recital at 9:17 a.m. However, the inauguration ceremony by the governor will be held at a later date to be determined by the state government. The 3-day Dun sitting will not have question and answer sessions and no winding up sessions by the ministers. The sitting this time also saw 18 elected representatives making their maiden appearance in Dun after winning their respective seats in the recently concluded 12th Sarawak election. The opposition bloc was only represented by 6 elected representatives led by Bawang Asan Assemblyman Dato Sri Wong Soon Koh. Meanwhile, Kuala Rajang Assemblyman Dato Len Talif Saleh and Report Assemblyman Dato Sri Huang Tiong Si will not be sitting for the 3-day Dun sitting after contracting COVID-19. Dun Speaker Muhammad Asfiya says the absence of leave was granted for the duo for the whole duration of the sitting as they are both under quarantine. Piasa Rap, who is also Assistant Minister of Tourism, Creative Industry and Performing Arts, Dato Sebastian Ting, has also been excused for the same reason. Ting will only be absent for today and tomorrow. The absence of leave for the 3 GPs lawmakers was granted under Standing Order 81.
Now, various factors need to be examined before the tourism sector is fully operating without the implementations of the tourism bubble. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, MOTAC, is now actively holding discussions, research and preparations with tourism ministries from various countries to implement Malaysia's border reopening.
Although the government does not intend to open the country's border yet on March 1st, Nancy says her ministry is optimistic, citing the Langkawi domestic and international tourism bubble pilot project as a benchmark for the sector. There are 2 tourism bubble projects in Langkawi where it started on September 16th for domestic and November 15 for international. As of December 31st, it recorded a total visit of 720,000 domestic and foreign tourists and a total revenue of 750 million ringgit. As of February 9 this year, a total of 4,275 foreign tourists have visited Langkawi with no import cases reported.
The country's ecotourism has been the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture's MOTAC main focus to ensure the sustainability of its products. A total of 70 handicraft entrepreneurs with 34 employees in LUBOK ANTU had been assisted by the government to expand their promotion and sales. As of September 30th, 2021, 169,000 sales has been made by the industry players in LUBOK ANTU.
Dan tadi menyentuh mengenai kawasan LUBOK ANTU. Sebenarnya MOTAC memang ada dia punya yang disebutkan koridor-koridor pelancongan ini ataupun the tourism belt juga ditentukan di setiap negara. Jadi salah satu daripadanya adalah di kawasan LUBOK ANTU ini menerusi dengan pelan iko pelancongan kebangsaan. Kita ada iko pelancongan kebangsaan 2020-2030 yang merangkumi strategi dan juga pelan tindakan bagi memastikan kelestarian produk iko pelancongan kekal mampan.
MOTAC has identified an ecotourism cluster from Seri Aman, Batang Ai, Ulu Sungai Menyang, Meludam in LUBOK ANTU area. It consists various popular tourism spots such as the Batang Ai National Park, Wong Merah Lubok ANTU, Lubok Kasai Nangga Sumpa, and Sulai Waterfall and Red Ape Trail. All are seen as a potential to be developed holistically and will be beneficial to the local community well-being and at the same time generating better income. For that purpose, various capacity development programs will be held for the local tourism players in Lubok ANTU.
Jadi kita amat bertuah sekali, kita masih ada lagi rumah panjang, katakan. Di Sarawak ini masih ada juga rumah panjang. Jadi ramai program-program yang dianjurkan untuk komuniti. Ya. Kita ada mempromosikan produk craft kepada pelancong, antaranya program reka bentuk dan juga pembangunan craft.
Touching on the promotional aspect, the initiative was implemented by Tourism Malaysia to promote unique tourism products in rural areas. However, the ecotourism cluster identified and proposed by the MOTAC requires understanding and cooperation with the state government. Nancy explained that every development plan proposed by the federal government must have the state government's consent.
The Department of Labour Sarawak JTKS has implemented an outreach inspection operation program that aimed to approach the local community in Lusong, Laku, Belaga. The outreach program, which is the first of its kind, held in 2022, is to expand the enforcement of labour laws for employers in the inland areas.
Among other initiatives of the program are to improve employers' awareness and responsibility in preventing forced labour and also improve the compliance of child labour.
Jabatan Tenaga Kerja Sarawak memandang serius sebarang isu yang berkaitan dengan penggajian buruh kanak-kanak di negeri ini. Ordinan Buruh Sarawak Bab 76 menyediakan peruntukan khusus berkaitan had dan sekatan berkaitan penggajian kanak-kanak seperti jenis pekerjaan yang boleh dilakukan, waktu bekerja yang dibenarkan dan jumlah hari bekerja yang dibenarkan. Peruntukan tersebut disediakan bagi melindungi kanak-kanak daripada dieksploitasi dan ditindas oleh pihak-pihak yang tidak bertanggungjawab.
If found guilty, they may be fined not exceeding 10,000 ringgit or imprisoned for a period of not exceeding 2 years or both. Offences of exploiting children as forced labour can also be taken action under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Migrant Smuggling Act 2007.
Ada kalanya dalam mendidik anak-anak, ibu bapa secara tidak sengaja berkelakuan pilih kasih dalam memberi kasih sayang atau perhatian. Zahirkan kasih sayang terhadap anak-anak. Jika perlu ditegur, tegurlah dengan kasih sayang.
Geologically challenged, climate change, growing population, and economic competition. All these are reasons for a country in need of land to develop. To overcome the pervasive space challenge, a country invests in mega projects that will help overcome these problems and take it into the next century. Discover these man-made marvels in tomorrow's city. Every Friday, 9 p.m. on TVS channel 122 Astro and MyTV.
Every day has a story to tell. But how well you tell a story is a different story. Let's join Yasu and B to explore the craft of story. You will learn how to structure and craft your idea to create a story to communicate with your audience. You will see a lot of beauty in the craft.
We're back. The government does not differentiate individuals who commit any offence, including those who violate COVID-19 Standard Operating Procedures (SOP). Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said that anyone who commits an offence will be subject to action, including ministers or senior government officers.
He was commenting on the compounds imposed by the Ministry of Health (MOH) on the organisers of an MIC Brigade launching ceremony, as well as several senior government leaders, including Senior Defence Minister Datuk Seri Hishamuddin Tun Hussein, for violating COVID-19 SOP at the event in Iskandar Puteri, Johor yesterday.
Yang pentingnya tindakan diambil. Mana kerajaan tidak membeza-bezakan antara individu yang melakukan kesalahan. Dia boleh jadi menteri, dia boleh jadi timbalan menteri, dia boleh jadi ketua jabatan, dia boleh jadi sesiapa saja. Tidak ada konsep orang atas kayangan tak kena kompaun, orang bawah saja kena kompaun. Apa saja yang melakukan kesalahan, melanggar SOP akan dikenakan kompaun. Termasuk menteri pertahanan dan lain-lain lah, tak kira siapa.
On Sunday, the Ministry of Health (MOH) had instructed 3 Barisan Nasional leaders who attended the launch of the MIC Brigade in Johor Bahru to be compounded for violation of the SOP. Its minister, Khairi Jamaluddin, had instructed MOH Putrajaya officers to issue compounds against MIC President Tan Sri Vigneswaran, Datuk Sri Hishamuddin, who is also the Barisan Nasional Treasurer General, and the chairman of Johor Barisan Nasional, Datuk Sri Hasni Mohamad. Meanwhile, on the Johor State Election SOP, Ismail Sabri said the matter will be announced by the Election Commission as an independent body that conducts election.
Jadi kita tak terlibat dari segi pendapat pandangan daripada Kementerian Kesihatan dan mereka akan umumkan SOP.
Based on the 2020 Population and Housing Census, Malaysia's population is 32.4 million. Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the country's population registered a compound annual growth rate, CAGR, of 1.7% over 10 years.
Malaysians made up 29.8 million or 91.7% of the population, while non-citizens totaled 2.7 million or 8.3%. He further said 52.3% of the population are men and 47.7% women, giving a ratio of 110 men to 100 women.
Penemuan banci juga menunjukkan negeri yang mempunyai bilangan wanita melebihi lelaki adalah wilayah Persekutuan Putrajaya, di mana 100 orang wanita bersamaan 96 orang lelaki.
He said this when launching the report on key findings of Population and Housing Census 2020. For statistics by ethnicity, the Bumiputra population recorded the highest percentage of 69.4%, followed by the Chinese 23.2%, Indian 6.7%, and others 0.7%. Meanwhile, in terms of age group, findings of 32.4 million Malaysian population showed 6.8% are aged 65 years and above, while 69.3% is those aged between 15 to 64 years, and the remainder 24% made up of those between the age of 0 to 14 years. Apart from that, Ismail Sabri said the findings were very much needed so that the government could formulate targeted policies and distribute fairly the country's wealth. He added that the census would be used as an evidence-based decision-making input in determining the per capita grants, key policy formulation, and benchmark in measuring the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals (SDGs).
Statistik dan data ini amat berkait rapat dengan pola berfikir dan seterusnya diolah kepada keputusan dan keberhasilan. Natijahnya, negara bakal melahirkan rakyat yang berminda kelas pertama selaras dengan aspirasi keluarga Malaysia ke arah mencapai negara maju pada tahun 2030.
Well, that concludes TVS News at 5. Remember, tonight, Nightline, 11:30 p.m. with Handy Gui. I'm Ruben Gomez. Anytime, anywhere.